Hello and welcome back again. When we last left off, we were in Boston base, just getting ready for the jump back to Sol. So, we've got a full load, we've got our cash, we know where we're going, let's go for a trip. And again, that's the remnants of somebody else's hyperspace cloud, approximately 4 kilometers out. And just mess up space even more, we'll put our own one there. Now, this is the solar system that you all know. Haven't quite decided where we're going to land. Let's go to London. So we'll zoom into Earth. Set the autopilot on course for London, and away we go. When we get there, hopefully we'll find somebody in dire need of computers so we can make a decent profit out of this. You may have noticed in one of the earlier videos you had people advertising on the bulletin board for certain goods. What that means is they can't find any anywhere else, and so they're willing to pay more for it. So if, for example, we get to London and there's no computers whatsoever available, then there might be someone on the bulletin board willing to pay double for them. Just so you can all see where we're going. When you land in a space station, the name tags are switched off by default, so you have to remember to switch them back on if you're fussed. And here we are, preparing to land at the London spaceport. For those of you that can't figure it out, TY198 is our vehicle registration number. As you'll see, all the pads are free in London at the moment. But obviously we're still assigned whichever one the flight controller would rather have us in, which, judging on our angle of descent, was bay... Actually, which bay is it? The autopilot doesn't seem to be going. Bay 6. You may have noticed what it said. The welcome message tells you which bay to proceed to, but obviously I wasn't paying attention at the time. As you can see, we are slowly getting nearer to the ground. Most times we land, I'll fast forward through this bit, but I thought it might be an interesting thing to watch once. Down to 400. This is also quite an interesting one to try and do if you're flying manually. Space stations, you can normally point in roughly the right direction and assume you'll make it okay, but as you can see it's a bit more complicated landing on a planet. We get charged 4 credits for the privilege of landing in London. There are cheaper places to land in Sol, and we'll probably visit some of them on subsequent trips, but right now we're showing off. So, first place to go, bulletin board. Actually what we'll show you as well is our friend Brett here. Items interesting or otherwise. As you can see, he has some very interesting items for sale, and if we go over here, you'll see they happen to match the list of illegal goods in Sol. Anyone like that is selling illegal items. Now, do they? As I said, someone wanting computers and paying twice the price. We'd only get about 500 credits a ton on the bulletin board, on the stock market, sorry, but this woman's willing to pay us 1,000 a ton, so she can have it. Now, what I was looking for, and it's not here at the moment, sometimes in systems you'll find there are 2 of these. There's only ever one legitimate one, but the local police like to put on sting operations to try and catch smugglers, and if you go to a smuggler by mistake, you'll end up with a rather hefty fine. Oh, let's see what jobs there are. Ooh, Ross 128. Now, I'm out of practice, so I'm not going to try for that one, because I don't think a week is enough time for the jump to Ross 128, which is down here. But the reason we're going to take this, as you'll see here, Federal Prison Colony, permit required. Now, can I get the military to give me a permit? Booger. They won't give me a permit, which is a shame, because I would have rather liked to do that job, but never mind. Anyone else got any jobs we could do? Doesn't look like it. So what we'll do is we will pick up some animal meat, fruit and veg and grain, or we might just take the animal meat. Yeah, I think we'll just take the animal meat and we'll head back to Barnard Star. Now, the three things Barnard Star pays well for are grain, fruit, veg and animal meat. Sorry. However, as you'll see, the price per tonne, even if they were desperate for grain or fruit and veg, I'd probably still make a better profit on the animal meat. So, that's our fuel gauge, by the way. We'll need to keep an eye on that, because obviously you don't want to run out of it. At the moment it's just over half full, which is good. So, all things considered, off we go. Now I'm afraid you may get bored by... Oh, London are a bit impatient to get rid of us. So we'll just increase speed a bit more. As I was saying before I was so rudely interrupted by ground control, we may have to do this route a couple of times, just because we need some money. It's not the most exciting bit of the game, I'll grant you, but you have to start somewhere, and for some of us that's the Barnard Star Soul trade route. Once we've got a bit of money behind us, we can start doing things like buying a bigger ship, putting some more guns on it, maybe putting a passenger cabin in so we can start taking those jobs. Because obviously there's only so far you can get just being a package delivery guy. Unfortunately, passenger cabins take up 5 tons of space, and as you can see, we don't have 5 tons of space to give up. Back at Boston base. Anyone happen to want some animal meat? Animal meat, animal meat, animal meat. Nobody wants any animal meat. Military got any jobs for us? Military not got any jobs for us. As you'll see, we just made about 40 credits a tonne on our animal meat. We're going to buy 2 tons of fuel, because I am going to refuel at this stage, which you'll see is here. Now, because we've got a class 1 drive, it only takes 1 tonne of fuel to completely fill it. If we end up with bigger drives, you'll get to learn the little system of class 2 drive takes 2 tons, class 3 drive takes 3 tons, and so on and so forth. Since we've got a bit more money behind us this time, we're going to pick up some robots as well as some computers. The same sort of logic really. We'll make more money on the robots unless we happen to get there and someone's desperate for some computers, which we can't always rely on. Just so you're not completely bored by this video, we'll actually go through the shipyard at this stage. You'll see we've got 4 options here: upgrades, repairs, new and reconditioned ships, and contacting the police. We'll start with upgrades. Much like the stock market, you have a list of bits, what they cost, and what you have here is cost to fit, Remove is what you'll get back. So if, for example, I wanted to fit a new Class 1 hyperdrive, it would cost me 8,000 credits. They'd give me 7,500 credits back for it if I were to sell it back to them. As you'll see, some of the things you can buy end up getting rather large. Different systems will have different things. If I were to show you this list in Seoul, for example, they have a lot more parts you can buy. But Boston base just has this. Repairs and servicing. As you'll see, you can order a deluxe service, a drive only or an equipment only. As it says down here, servicing at least once a year is a wise precaution. So this is effectively your MOT. As you'll see, it was last serviced just before we bought it. So it's only been a couple of months, we don't need another service yet. If you don't service it, it increases the chance of parts breaking down, which again you can end up in quite a bit of trouble really if, for example, your hyperdrive broke down in the middle of nowhere. So it's a good idea to get it serviced when you can. New and reconditioned ships. These are some of the ships we might look at getting later. I'm quite partial to Cobra Mark III myself, or the Asp, but you'll see we have nowhere near enough money to purchase one at the moment. But again, later on, we'll come back here quite often. Contacting the police. At the moment we don't have any fines, but if, for example, we did get caught with a dodgy smuggler, that's where we go to pay off our fine. You never know, I might get into some trouble later and we'll get a chance to look at the options there. But for now, we've dropped off our animal meat, picked up some stock to go back with. So in the next video we'll head back to Seoul, and you never know, there might be some proper jobs for us this time. Until then, however, bye bye.